Welcome to the Data Collection Unit Installation Overview. In this video, we will be covering the installation of OptumSoft SmartHVAC, which includes the data collection unit, sensors, power supply, and modem. At the end of this video, you will understand the step-by-step process which is required to install hardware and configure the data collection units. Before you go on site, make sure you have the following. Site plan. This tells you what to install and where to install it. Data collection units. This includes sensors and power supplies. Modems. This enables the data collection unit to report information to the cloud. And lastly, spares. This includes extra power supplies, transformers, and sensors. When you arrive on site, gather all equipment, a spare parts kit, and the tools required to perform the installation. Contact the facility supervisor and proceed to the HVAC units which are indicated on the site plan. First, go to the unit on which both the DCU and modem will be mounted. This should be near the center of the group of units. Then find the modem and the DCU for the unit and double check that the DCU serial number matches the one on the plan. Lastly, walk around the unit and note any potential options for mounting both the DCU and the modem on the exterior of the HVAC unit. You may now begin the installation. Step 1. Power down the unit. Turn off power to the HVAC unit. Remember, never operate on a live unit. Additionally, avoid doing anything that will either void the HVAC unit warranty or go against local codes and regulations. Step 2. Determine a suitable location for the power supply. Open the service panel and find an open spot where the power supply can be mounted on the interior of the unit. Make a note of this location. Step 3. Determine a suitable location for the data collection unit. Pick an open spot on the exterior of the HVAC unit which is close to the power supply location. Check for clearance and obstruction on the interior of the unit so the components are not impacted when drilling. Step 4. Determine a suitable location for the modem. Ideally, this will be close to both the location for the data collection unit and the power supply. Again, check for clearance and obstruction on the interior of the unit as we don't want sheet metal screws coming in contact with components inside the unit. Note, not every HVAC unit has a modem. One modem is installed in a central location for several units to share. Skip instructions for the modem if the HVAC unit you are working on does not require one. Step 5. Mark a location for a 1-inch hole near the modem and DCU locations. This hole will be used for sensor and power cable access. Drill a 1-inch hole and install a cable gland. Step 6. Install sensors. Run sensor cables through the 1-inch hole to their final locations. This includes 2 CT sensors for the compressor and blower, 2 temperature sensors for the return and supply air, and 1 differential air pressure sensor for the filter. CT sensors should always be installed on the load side of the contactors for compressors and fans. Find the wire labeled T1 and install the CT clamp around it. If there is more than one compressor, then install the CT clamp around the T1 wires of all compressors. If a modem is 3-phase, do not put the clamp around all 3 wires. For a 3-phase motor, just capture the T1 wire. Temperature sensors should be placed in 2 locations. Return air duct coming from the building before the air filter and economizer if present, and supply air duct just after the blower. Use zip ties and sheet metal screws to ensure moving air does not displace the sensors. The differential air pressure sensor has 2 ports for attaching tubing. Run tubing to either side of the air filter. Again, use fasteners to secure the tubing. As you install all sensors, use cable ties and screws to secure wires and tubing to ensure sensors stay in place. Step 7. Mount DCU bracket. After the sensors have been installed, it is time to install the data collection unit bracket. Find the location that you marked in Step 3. Use the provided self-tapping screws to fasten the bracket to the exterior of the HVAC unit. Step 8. Install the data collection unit. Slide the DCU onto the mounting bracket and fasten the attachment screw. Step 9. Install modem and modem case. Find the location that you identified in Step 4. Using self-tapping screws, fasten the modem case onto the exterior of the HVAC unit. If this unit does not require a modem, skip this step. Step 10. Install cable glands on sensor cables. Disassemble gland and thread the sealing nut, clip, body, and O-ring onto sensor wire. Step 11. Install sensor cables on DCU. Plug in the male end of each sensor cable into the corresponding female RJ45 socket. Wait to hear the click and ensure that the cable is properly installed. Refer to this diagram to determine which ports to use for each sensor cable. It is also included in the installation instructions included in the packaging. After sensor cables have been plugged in, screw the cable gland body into the DCU case, add the seal to the wire, and fasten the sealing nut. Step 12. Power supply. Place the power supply in the service panel at the location you marked in Step 2. Connect the power supply to the 110 volt to 240 volt alternating current power supply. If the HVAC unit has 460 to 480 volt power, then use the step-down transformer. Step 13. Install power cords. Run power cords from both the modem and DCU to the power supply. Install wires onto the power supply. Step 14. Fasten the power supply to the interior of the unit using sheet metal screws. Lastly, plug power supply cables into the modem and DCU. Step 15. Close the DCU. Use port plugs to close up unused ports on the DCU. And seal the hole from Step 5 with silicone if it is not airtight. Step 16. Power. Turn on power to the HVAC unit. Check the modem LED to ensure that it is online and close the modem case. Step 17. Verify installation. Call the support number provided to confirm that sensors are capturing data. It is critical to perform this step since issues that are caught early are easiest to solve. Step 18. Installation report. For each installation that you perform, take pictures of the HVAC unit label, compressor label, fan label, DCU label, and modem label. Email these photos to install@optumsoft.com with the DCU serial number in the subject of the email. Perform this step separately for each unit. This unit information is critical to perform remote automated diagnosis of unit issues. Step 19. Close up the unit. This concludes the data collection unit installation overview. You should now have an understanding on how to install OptumSoft SmartHVAC. If you have any questions or comments, please reach out to us at install@optumsoft.com. Thank you.